If you're a frequent P&W Haunts and Homicides listener, you probably already know we're Birdie ambassadors.
We wanted to take a quick moment to tell you a little bit more about this awesome product.
Birdie is the modern personal safety alarm made for women by women.
In a situation where you feel threatened or unsafe, you can simply activate Birdie's loud siren and flashing light to create a diversion.
Birdie is perfect to carry anytime because the device is lightweight and comes in a variety of colors.
So important. Use our ambassador link and coupon code P&W Haunts and Homicides to receive 10% off your purchase. Like our social media handles, the coupon code is all spelled out, no special characters.
You can find the link and promo code in our show notes or P&W Haunts and Homicides link tree.
Have a safe ass day. As indie podcasters, we love to show our support of other awesome shows. So stay tuned for the promo we've got to share with you this week.
Let's show them some love. You can find their info in our show notes.
Do you love listening to true crime podcasts, but could do with hearing something a bit lighter as well? I'm Tara Saraban, host of World's Dumbest Criminals podcast. It's a show all about the most ridiculous and bizarre true crime stories from around the globe. World's Dumbest Criminals is available on iTunes and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss any criminally stupid shenanigans.
You guys, we're back.
And don't worry, we did get more wine.
Well, of course. Hi, Chuckaboo.
Well, hello there, Chuckaboo. This is P&W Haunts and Homicides.
It is. And everyone is very confused.
All the creepy people are like, who the fuck is Chuckaboo?
I mean, it sounds like them, but these nicknames.
We're both Chuckaboo now. You just have to deal with it. You have to learn our voices apart.
Yeah. It's how it is now. No, we just learned a fun new word because we recorded an episode of The Cramp Word with Ye Old Crime.
And that was a blast.
It was so much fun.
We learned some, Victorian slang.
Yeah. We learned a few.
Yeah.
Chuckaboo is the only thing that we're going to share.
Yeah, we're not going to give away what it means.
No.
You'll just have to listen to the episode. When did she say it was coming out? Do you remember?
Yeah. So this one actually comes out on New Year's Eve.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
How did I forget that? I'm such an idiot.
No, you're fine. I wrote it down. Studies have shown that your memory and retention is better with things that you write down.
Even if you're like, that's a memorable date. I'll remember that. Nope.
I feel like especially because I would have questioned that. I would have been like, maybe I was doing the dyslexia thing and it's really 12:13. It's not. It'll be 12:31. We get to ring in the year with an extra special guest spot.
Yay. Well,
All right.
hopefully you creepy people are doing good because Caitlin's about to fuck up all of our lives once again. Sorry you don't get a spooky to alleviate the pain.
I mean, listen, it's a good one. That's all I got. That was
all right. Sure.
all that build up for me to be like, it's really good, you guys.
So great.
It's so great.
Well,
it's
hit us.
kind of old timey.
Oh, I like old timey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, think back to like the 70s, hippies.
Is it going to be groovy?
It's so groovy for a second.
Okay, so you said 70s, so BRB. I'm going to go smoke some weed real quick. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, she's lighting up a doobie.
Getting old school.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I just realized too, 5 minutes before we recorded this, that there's another connection to the Gilmore Girls.
What the fuck, Caitlin?
Listen, I don't know. The universe is trying to tell me something.
You're going to get them canceled.
No.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Just kidding.
I said that with like the full force of like somebody who's watching this like years ago on WB. Holy shit. No. Oh man, it's even more tangential, arguably, than Richard Gilmore, but you know.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it trying to tell us to do like a watch party for the Gilmore Girls?
Maybe.
Like,
I'd be down.
know. Something lighthearted for the holidays.
Totally. Let's do it.
We do have some lighthearted plans for the holidays, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to do a creepy coven crafty, nifty thing.
Crafty, nifty thing.
Yeah. I feel like it's best represented in visuals, but we're going to do another live. And it's going to be for just our Patreon members. So hopefully you guys can go over there, figure that all out.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to be there because we're going to do prizes.
Join the Patreon for as little as $1 hair a month.
A singular doll hair.
Just one, but it has to be from a haunted doll. So good luck with that.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I went a little bit apeshit and we have enough prizes to give away on this one for like a good chunk of the existing Patreon. But make me regret not buying more. Go over there, join, make me eat my words.
Challenge accepted.
All right, Cassie. I can't drag my feet any more than that.
Okay.
We just got to go for it.
What if I tell you I have something in my eye right now and we can't start yet?
I would believe you because of the rapid blinking.
I've had something in my eye since I got here, but I can't get it out because I have a lot of makeup on. I think it's a sparkle.
Oh, dear Lord.
It's okay.
Okay.
I've dealt with sparkle face before.
I've dealt with sparkle
I
face.
think we could get
She
through it.
says it like it's a diagnosable medical condition. But you know what? It could be. It could be just like buttery Ritz cracker syndrome. Shaking. Shaking. That's what it was. Buttery Ritz cracker shaking. Oh,
That's
Lindsay.
when you guys will get New Year's Eve as well.
I know. Oh my gosh.
We're planting the inside jokes.
Yeah, that's true. That's so funny. You're going to have to go and check out her show if you're not already listening to her. And Lindsay, if you're listening to this, we are just only like mildly obsessed with you.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I mean, the amount that's allowed by law.
You don't have to get a restraining order, we promise.
Not yet.
Allegedly.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you guys. Today, our story starts technically on the other side of the country.
Okay.
At Yale University in 1977.
Oh, Yale.
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 Yale. As a fun way to honor our nation's centennial in 1976, the Bike Centennial. You see what they did there?
Okay.
Bike Centennial.
Okay.
The Bike Centennial organized over 4,000 riders to cycle the Trans-America Trail.
Were they naked?
They were not.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean,
I'm
is it
from
even,
Portland. Sorry.
Yeah. Is it even a bike ride if you're not naked?
I thought they were all naked. All organized bike rides were naked.
Turns out they're not.
Damn it. Okay.
As a proud bike owner who has always ridden hers fully clothed. Sorry. Hate to be a killjoy, but
I had to get one more joke in before the serious
like,
stuff. Okay.
She's bracing herself. In 1977, it was mostly college students joining in.
Okay.
So, again, not that unlike the naked bike ride here in Portland, but some of the riders found along the way that they had not budgeted enough for food for the duration of the trip, given the arduous journey. This was an incredibly physically daunting task that the riders had undertaken. As is often the case for bikers, there were near misses with other vehicles.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Some bikers reported having encountered wildlife, including wild dogs, rats, and even bears.
Ooh, were they on trails and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I think the majority of it was basically just riding along like kind of different rural roads.
Okay.
So you're going to get kind of a mix of everything. It's like, okay, a little bit of bears, a little bit of near misses on the road.
Donner party because we're starving.
Oof. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah. Yikes. Still others encountered something even more unusual. Snow in parts of Colorado and Wyoming in July.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So was I not way off about the Donner party thing?
I know. I was like, no way. Did she just say that?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't that far from civilization. So thankfully, there are no recorded accounts of cannibalism.
Okay. Well, you brought up the starving, and that's where my brain went.
Yeah. I mean, that was really more in line with the college students of today who are just surviving on a half a packet of ramen.
Dry ramen.
Yeah. But it turns out that no one could have prepared for the darkest turn of events that would take place that summer as two young women from Yale would take their turn on the journey. Terry Jentz from Chicago was about to turn 20 years old when on Wednesday, June 22nd of 1977, she began her journey on the Bike Centennial with her college roommate, who we're going to call Shayna, as Terry did in her book, and Shayna was from Boston.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Just a side note, listen, it's not at all difficult to find her real name because if you just look up the case online, you'll find a ton of articles about them and everything. But in the spirit of sharing the story the way Terry did, we're going to follow her lead, which as it unfolds might make a bit more sense why I've chosen this tact.
Okay.
At the time, the country seemed to have concerns that have plagued many areas in the nation in present day. I was considering making this a guessing game, but
Oh, God.
There was a drought all over the country that summer. Gas prices were soaring.
Weird.
I know. I wonder if people thought the madness at the pump was only temporary, as so many did when I started my research on this case a few months back.
It's never going to end.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. These things come in cycles. Well, at any rate, this story doesn't really have anything to do with gas prices or a drought. Just funny to see how the parallels and how history seemingly repeats itself. So let's talk more about our college gals here.
Okay.
So there's actually a really cute photo of Terry standing next to her bike. She was a slender, I think probably average height. She looks tall to me, but
Everyone looks tall to you.
Says more about me than it does about her. With long, straight hair, she has both arms extended slightly upward, making the typical hand gesture of the day.
Peace
sign.
Nice.
With both hands. Like
double peace.
So much peace.
So much peace.
All of the peace.
All the peace I can handle on these two hands.
Shayna was an easygoing and good-natured girl with olive skin, dark eyes, and dark shoulder-length hair. So, hashtag Caitlin's goals in life. It's not working out.
Hashtag never gonna happen.
Yeah. If both Terry and Shayna were to summarize themselves, it would sound something like this. Typical good girls who became fast friends.
Aw,
I know, cute, right?
I like that. Good
Yeah.
girls.
Good girls. They really were, though. They were very sweet. I mean, for college age girls, very innocent and very cute.
Aw.
Yeah, it's very sweet, their friendship in the early days. Terry was drawn to Shayna for several reasons, and it seemed that they started off the summer with such altruistic goals. Here's where the details about Shayna's intentional kindness string is helpful by way of example. This is just so pure, so wholesome. She wore the string on her index finger to remind herself to be observant of others' feelings, conscientious, and above all, kind.
Oh,
I know.
that is
The
so
sweetest
sweet.
girls.
Oh,
So they started their bus trek across the country after Shayna visited her grandparents. They slept in awkward positions on the bus for the 3-day journey towards the West Coast.
oh,
I know, sleeping on a bus.
no.
For 3 days in a row.
Oh,
I think my body would actually disintegrate.
yeah. Well, we're old.
I know.
So.
I'm ancient.
Yeah.
Marveling at the rustic cowboy aesthetic of the city of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Finally, they arrived in Portland. On June 16th, their adventure began as they took off on their bikes along Oregon Coastal Route number 1.
Aw.
Yeah. The married couple they had befriended on the bus stayed behind as they were held up by their bikes having been lost in transit.
Oh.
I know, that suck.
Yeah.
Lame. LeMay. They would rejoin the college girls near their first camping site on June 17th, not having been delayed for long and catching up quite quickly. If you get a full day's head start on me, I'm never putting the pedal to the metal to catch up to you.
No.
But apparently they did.
Dang.
I say that as if it were possible.
I'm just choosing not to.
Yeah.
But I can.
I could do that. I just don't
Totally.
want to.
Yeah.
Although I will say people always remark that for someone with such short legs, I walk incredibly fast. And the bike tends to be a little bit of an equalizer. So who knows? Maybe I'll surprise everyone, myself. So as you might have guessed, the younger, far less experienced riders, Terry and Shayna, began to battle to keep up with the married marathoner couple they had befriended.
Okay.
Because this was not their first bike ride rodeo.
Okay.
They had actually done several marathon type events like this before on bikes.
Ugh.
So I know, immediately I'm like, you seemed like nice people and now I hate you. Your physical fitness disgusts me.
You're all sweaty.
Oh, and they were camping for a lot of this too.
Oh, God.
So you're sweaty.
Smelly.
Yeah. It's a lot. Crazy world, a lot of smells.
Oy.
Shayna had enjoyed chatting with Mark, who was in law school, on much of their stretch of the journey on the 18th. Though Terry couldn't help but feel as though there was a tension developing between herself and Shayna. It turned out Shayna had something of a level of concern about actually being able to make it all the way to their intended destination in Virginia on the challenging bike route.
That is so long.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So, as a native Oregonian, it's Virginia. That's entirely too far.
So far.
It's very far. It was at this point in the story that I'm like, wait. So they took a bus trip across the country to come to Oregon to start the journey to ride their bikes all the way to Virginia.
But why?
I know. I'm like, okay, listen, they're Ivy League people. Clearly they're made of different stuff than me. Okay. But whoa.
Yeah. That's intense.
Whoa. Makes me feel dizzy. The following day, they encountered visit but don't stay billboards in Oregon.
Okay.
Which, if I'm being honest, is not totally off-brand for our state. Apparently, there were a few scattered along their particular route. So a lot of different municipalities, they were aware that, you know, obviously there's thousands of bike riders doing this. So they're like, yeah, like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Just ride on through.
Yeah, just ride on through. Go on, get. Terry assessed the Oregonians they encountered as typically kind, though she noted that they were prone to snap when she pronounced the state's name incorrectly.
Oregon.
Yeah. My next sentence in the notes, well, Terry, girl, it's not Oregon.
Yeah.
You'll find we're quite sensitive about that.
Yeah.
On June 20th, the group of four spent the day completing about 70 miles of riding through flat areas of the Willamette Valley before arriving in Eugene, where they checked into a motel, staying in the college town that evening so they could wash their clothes and shower.
Okay. At least it was flat, right?
I guess. Hey, you want to know something else that everybody says wrong?
What?
Willamette.
Oh, yeah. Is that what you said?
No, I said it right.
Oh, okay.
Because I live here. But
I was like, did you purposefully say it wrong and I didn't even notice?
That would be really funny.
Because I was just thinking about the next thing I was going to say.
No. And honestly, the thing that just like sticks in my head is 70 miles of riding.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But when you're on your way to your next like shower,
yeah,
that probably
motivating.
is pretty good motivation.
Yeah.
Yikes. On June 22nd, Shayna and Terry agreed that they were holding their friends Mark and Kathy back. Like, duh.
Okay.
They marathon.
Why wouldn't Mark and Kathy just leave?
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I think they were just kind of trying to like hang, and it's safer in a group. It's probably more fun in a group.
So then they apparently didn't care. Why are you so stressed?
That's exactly what I
Girl.
thought. Like, just, I don't know, like maybe chill out. It's fine. They'll let you know if they want to go on ahead of you, right?
Right.
Well, they figured they were a married couple and they're in far better shape physically and more experience with these types of activities. So basically, I think they thought that like, oh, they're a married couple. We should give them privacy. They were very like sweet, pure girls. They're like, oh, they do married people things at night.
Like fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, oh, we should give them privacy, you know.
Okay.
Which I thought that was really like, it's so cute. It's wholesome,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
I just stay in a group.
Yeah.
Stay in a fucking group.
I'm like, is there something that happened? Did they like overhear them one night and they're like, oh God, like I don't want to hang out with these people during the day?
It's too weird. I can't unhear it.
It's all I hear when I look at you.
Terry was happy when the couple went on ahead without them, as she eagerly tried to determine why Shayna seemed miffed. They would have a loose agreement to meet with the couple as their respective paces and personal preference allowed. So they were like, we might catch up with you guys again. We just want to like give you the option, but like do your own thing. What ifs?
Sounds good.
Safety in numbers.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
So it turns out Shayna gets mad, though, when Terry takes off a bit ahead of her using the pedaling technique that Mark had taught her.
Ooh.
Yeah. They finished the remaining 10-mile ride to the Cline State Park. It's a fairly desolate spot and marked for day use only, despite the guidebook establishing that as their next designated camp spot.
Uh-oh.
For that evening.
Uh-oh.
Shayna didn't want to stay overnight since camping was not permitted. And I wondered, after reading articles about it, why 2 young girls had decided to camp at the park if that was the case. Cline State Park was not an overnight campground, and by all accounts, to this day, is still intended for day use only.
Okay.
And signage actually indicates that fact. But the Bicentennial Trail Guide did show this as their next overnight stop on the way to their eventual destination.
So someone fucked up.
Yeah. And the next town was another 4 to 5 miles away. And that's after the strenuous, exhausting day of riding up the mountain pass. And this was not a particularly appealing prospect to Terry.
Were there other people staying there?
It doesn't sound like there were other people that camped out there at that point. Which, you know, they're doing this on a stretch where you might not necessarily encounter other groups unless you kind of stay in one, like with Mark and Kathy. Because the Bicentennial had actually, some people had been doing it starting back in like 76.
Okay.
So this is summer 77. You know, I don't know if like one or the other time frames was, you know, more well attended, but it's huge stretches of road that you're bicycling, and people are leaving and starting this journey all different like days. And obviously, you know, most of it you can only do certain times of year because of weather and a number of other factors. But
dang.
Yeah. So there were definitely people there during the day. Because if you go and visit the site, there's people there, you know, whether it's they're out taking photos of like the landscape or walking their dogs or picnicking. It seems like it's probably a place that at least during the day, it's unlikely to be totally empty. So
makes sense.
Yeah. Shayna really didn't want to camp there. Seems like between the two of them, she was maybe even more of a little bit of a goody two shoes.
Yeah.
She was like, we're not supposed to. Like, we should just go on to the town. And, you know, who knows what's waiting for you there, though? Like, they're all college kids or, you know, around that age. You're going to have to pay for a hotel or.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. They definitely felt ill at ease, though. As they put up their tent, they both agreed they were likely being paranoid, but a strange feeling came over them. A feeling that they were being watched swept over them.
I don't like that.
It's not great.
I just got so cold.
Yeah.
And I'm wrapped in a blankie.
I know, you're like bundled. Now, for the remainder of the evening, we'll be sharing the events as they unfolded per Terry's account. She was awoken by screaming tires.
Okay.
And she feels an incredible pain and weight inflicted upon her body. She struggled to breathe as she realized she was pinned underneath a vehicle.
I don't like that. That's terrifying. Oh.
She assumed it was drunk teenagers that had been doing donuts in the parking lot earlier in the evening. She thought wrong. She realized her mistake as she heard a singular, unknown individual exit from the vehicle. It was then that Shayna let out a high-pitched scream. "Leave us alone." and I can't do high pitched.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
She's then struck several times and goes silent before the perpetrator returns to the vehicle. And as she put it, Terry knows it's a psycho now, but she can't work out why she isn't dead from the impact.
Okay.
Oh, God.
That's crazy.
It's
For that to be like going through your mind.
It just, yeah. The mysterious attacker pulls the vehicle away, and as she catches her breath, she's suddenly struck by a weapon. Again, this monster allows a brief reprieve as he moves his vehicle just a short distance away. So he's pulled his vehicle away, and she's maybe lulled into kind of a sense of, okay, is this over? Terry realizes in horror as he returns and straddles her that he has no intention of allowing them to survive. She cannot see his face, but remarks that his just so attire elicits a strange reaction in her mind as she inexplicably thinks to herself, what an attractive cowboy.
What? Oh.
The outfit is truly bizarre. He was very meticulously dressed in what she's always described as like a cowboy outfit.
Huh.
Not like a costume.
Yeah.
Just like a pair of jeans that it's like, it's obvious you're not actually wrangling cows or horses. Very clean, very put together. He, looks like a young man who maybe is about to go line dancing, I'd say.
Okay.
Slowly, he hovers with the axe just above her chest as he moves to strike her with another blow.
No.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we figured out what the weapon was.
It's an
axe or a hatchet.
Oh.
But he stopped short as she throws her hands directly into the path of the blade, clasping it as she pleads with him, clutching the weapon from beneath him. Please leave us alone. Take anything. Just leave us alone.
Oh.
He walks away again, and this time, when his vehicle moves again, it is for the last time as he tears off from the scene. The crickets chirp next to the rushing river as Terry shivers from the cold. The air is heavy with the scent of both blood and juniper. My literal nightmare? Because my allergy to juniper would actually be the least of reasons to be concerned about at this point.
Yeah.
Right now, someone out there just figured out, I'm going to make her a pineapple and juniper smoothie. Finally, she comes back to Earth and senses that her friend, moaning in an animalistic and guttural way, is suffering a great deal. Shayna is pale in the moonlight, and Terry realizes that her friend's skull has been penetrated.
Oh, God, no.
It's suddenly a fight for Shayna's life as Terry works to get her contact lenses in.
Oh, fuck.
Y'all, contact lenses, they were kind of a nightmare back then. Under the best of circumstances. Somehow, she manages this. She gets her contacts in.
Ugh.
And she just simply blinks away the blood dripping furiously into her eyes.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't, logistically, how?
I have
no
it's idea.
Wild.
No. I'm glad I have LASIK now.
I know.
Jesus.
I was thinking about that this time around, editing through the notes, and I'm like, oh, damn, that's a real good argument for LASIK.
Yeah.
She had planned to ride her bike to the nearest town for help before realizing that she can't move her arms.
Oh.
It becomes clear that all of the bones in her upper body are in fact broken. So that plan is out.
How'd she get her contacts in?
I don't know.
Holy Jesus.
I think what happens in that case is like the bones in the arm are broken, but your fingers are okay. And maybe she's able to just kind of barely get enough dexterity to.
Like she probably still had some adrenaline too in her.
Oh, absolutely. She's not feeling pain right now.
Yeah.
She didn't know her arms were broken.
Yeah. Ugh,
I repeat,
crazy.
she was unaware that all of the bones in her arms were broken.
Ugh.
One vehicle's headlights became visible on her left-hand side, coming from the road running alongside the park. Terry can't be sure if that's the cowboy. Maybe he'll finish them off after all. Or if it's someone that may be able to help.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how horrifying it would be to see headlights approaching you at that point?
She was just hit by a car.
Yeah. Like literally run over and attacked with an axe.
That's just crazy.
As she reflects upon her choices, flashes of Shayna's brutally battered skull run through her mind, and she decides that she simply doesn't have time to be overly cautious about the approaching vehicle. It comes down to kind of what I picture an ER doctor, like kind of their triaging mentality. Like if we want to save the patient, we have to do this thing, even though it could kill them. Except you're the patient and the ER doctor, and you may die no matter what.
Oh, God.
How you make such like snap decisions like that when, again, you know, she's not really fully feeling it because she's in shock and the adrenaline, but like, how do you have your wits about you at all?
I have no idea.
I can barely think right now, and I'm just a little tired.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the truck stopped when they saw her as she attempted to flag them down. She realized, probably with no small amount of relief, that there was a young woman in the truck along with her boyfriend, because she didn't see the man's face. So even if she's thinking maybe it's a different vehicle, you just feel a little better with another woman there. Before they make haste for the hospital, Terry insists that they pack up their camping gear. Clearly, she was in shock. Again.
Yes.
It hadn't even occurred to her yet that obviously it wouldn't matter what happened to their camping gear, because their trip was obviously coming to a rather horrific and unceremonious end.
Yeah, you ain't going to be camping anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh.
The couple hurriedly carried Shayna to the truck, with Terry trailing them back and forth. So they actually did help her try to pack up, you know, as much of the gear. They then scrambled speedily down the highway towards the hospital with Shayna tucked into the cab, cradled in the girl's lap, while Terry settled into the bed of the truck.
Oh. Ugh.
And this is crazy, but this is such a small town that, you know, well, maybe not so much now. Not so much now, but back then it was a very small town. So when they go to the ER, the door that they approached was locked.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's not good.
So you have to like, if you have to like pull around the corner, or like, God forbid, like somebody's out to lunch that you need, like in that moment. I mean, I just can't even imagine. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I didn't even put it in my notes because I was like, well, it's hardly the most remarkable part of the story, but
it's the ER.
It's the ER.
Unlock the doors.
Unlock the doors. Yeah, I don't know if they do that for safety, just like after dark, or hard to say. But
yeah,
the inventory of Terry's injuries was extensive. But because she was young, healthy, and had been so active right before the attack, her prognosis was actually pretty positive.
That's good.
So it almost makes me want to exercise.
Almost.
In the attack, she sustained a break to her upper right arm. Her right lung collapsed. Her right collarbone was fractured. The right side of her rib cage had been crushed. And some of the lower ribs cracked in half.
Oh my God.
She also had 2-inch gashes all over her scalp. Additionally, her nose had been broken. There was a chip in her skull over her left eye, of which the pupil was fixed and dilated.
Oh no.
Her left forearm had been sliced through, the left palm slashed, and last but not least, she had a broken pinky on her left hand as well.
Oh. Jeez.
I know. It's like, oh, that little guy.
Oh.
She survived against what many would later reflect were seemingly insurmountable odds. Which, I mean, if that truck hadn't driven by, it occurs to me that probably both of them would have died.
Yeah.
I think most of Terry's like penetrative, cuts, those types of wounds weren't as significant. So I don't think that, she would have died of, blood loss, but, she had trauma to her head and other parts of her body. I mean, if they hadn't addressed some of the other like broken bones, I mean, maybe internal bleeding. It's so hard to say. There was so much that was her poor body.
That's crazy.
Shayna miraculously survived her surgery as well.
Wow.
The piece of skull that had been punched in was wedged into an artery in her brain, stemming her blood loss. That's what saved her.
Wow.
Like, the type of injury that she had, typically when EMTs show up to like the site of a shooting, like that person is long expired because you could see her brain.
Yeah.
She had no other injuries and wasn't in pain. However, Shayna was blind following her surgery.
Oh.
Terry was told by her mother when she woke up herself that they weren't sure if it would be temporary or permanent. They would have to wait and see if a reduction in the swelling of her brain would alleviate the blindness. In time, her eyesight would slowly be restored, though it would be permanently impaired.
Oh.
She also had no memory of the attack.
Wow.
And Shayna didn't want to remember, which would leave Terry feeling isolated and shut out by her friend.
That is so sad. But I mean, you have to understand why she wouldn't want to remember.
Yeah. That's so hard because you can obviously so clearly see how, for Terry, how can I not have anyone to, this is something we survived together, and she, I mean, very much so was the force behind Shayna's survival.
Yeah.
And she can't talk to this person that she feels very close to about this shared experience.
Oh.
And for Shayna, she's like, I don't remember it and I don't want to.
No hypnosis for her.
No. Well, and I think because of the unique nature of her cranial trauma, I'm not sure that that's something she could even access.
That's true.
I just don't think she's ever going to be able to relive that or remember it in any respect.
Wow.
I know. It's wild. Remember Mark and Kathy?
Yeah.
That's the couple that they met from the Greyhound bus. Well, they were tracked down by local officers, and they visited them in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
But Mark could hardly bear to look at Terry in that state. Because obviously their injuries are so disparate. Shayna had seemingly like a singular injury, right? But this is such an extreme injury in her case. And Terry is like, looks like she's just been knocked around inside a hurricane.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Can't imagine how guilty they feel leaving them too.
I know.
Mm.
Can you, your heart.
Yeah.
On July 3rd, Terry was discharged from the hospital after 12 days. She and her mother drove up from Bend and flew home to Chicago from Portland. She would end up returning to Yale just as Shayna would as well. But her story was far from over. The police report written on the attempted murder was exceedingly short. It stated that the crime took place at approximately 11:45 p.m. on June 22nd of 1977. The victim's location at time of crime was listed as a small tent, and the victim's activity at the time of the crime was entered as sleeping. The remainder barely constitutes a paragraph, but will be generous. Instrument and force used: hatchet or similar weapon. Near Redmond, 2 female bicyclists were attacked by a single male assailant with his truck and axe-type weapon. Tire impressions were noted by responding officers. Large pool of blood in a grassy portion of the park.
Okay.
End quote.
Wow.
Now, granted, this is the 70s and, we're not looking at collecting DNA or whatever, but we certainly can, look for things like fingerprints, and hopefully there would be photos, and hopefully we're going to be interviewing. At that point, shit, how many people lived in Bend? Interview every single one of them. Yeah. All of the camping gear, with the exception of the tent, was returned to Terry eventually.
Oh.
Her dad laundered the blood-soaked sleeping bag, which Terry was still too much in a daze to think better of following the attack. Her dad, sweet man that he was, asked her, "Hey, I've got the sleeping bag and some of the other camping stuff. What do you want me to do with it?"
You think they would take it into evidence?
You'd be tempted to think so. And Terry, just still obviously like reeling from this experience, said, I guess, take it to a laundromat.
Oh, boy.
Because she thought she was going to want that sleeping bag for some reason.
No.
Poor girl. It wasn't until 1979 that Terry's father received a call from a detective in Oregon, relaying the message that they should have a sense of closure from a recent arrest. This in spite of the fact that a polygraph, credible as we know them to be, indicated he was innocent of the crime, despite his confession.
Okay.
So feel better, because you should have closure on this, even though the polygraph that we actually still trust at this point in time says he didn't do it, because he confessed. Because people don't ever do that falsely.
Never.
The detective indicated that he was most likely the man responsible. He'd done some other very bad things and would be incarcerated for a significant period of time regardless.
Okay.
But, so many follow-up questions.
I know.
I'm I'm like,
can we make sure he's the guy? Or
you've only had like 2 years, so just kind of thought maybe it'd be better news than this. Yeah. Though, to put it mildly, it was really weak sauce in terms of the investigation and follow-up. Because you're basically calling this man whose daughter was almost murdered as a law officer and saying, I mean, he like prob sauce did it.
Yeah.
But, like, just feel good.
Yeah.
Just feel good now.
One bad guy's off the street.
You want a cookie? And he's not wrong. This was a very bad man who we will probably talk about in greater detail at a future time.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Terry was very skeptical of the aforementioned story.
No shit.
Yeah. But she wouldn't revisit that story along with the horrific events until roughly 15 years later.
Oh, holy shit.
At the time, the man that had been arrested was incarcerated on 2 counts sodomy and 1 count murder.
Okay.
He was still in prison, according to Oregon State Penitentiary, when Terry called.
She called?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Though he had been sentenced to life, she would discover, due in part to information she gleaned after contacting victims' assistants, that he was granted release of an indeterminate date and was likely to be released sometime in March of 1995.
Okay.
So that was right around the corner at this point. Terry would embark on a crusade to learn the truth about her attacker and all of the details surrounding the events of that June evening in 1977. While she would remain dubious about the man police originally arrested for being their attacker, she would learn of another potential suspect that seemed far more plausible the further she dug.
Ooh.
She would also advocate tirelessly in the effort to eliminate the statute of limitations for attempted murder in the state of Oregon.
Seems like a common theme these days.
My neck just cracked so loud. I think I'm literally holding like all of the stress in my neck. The statute of limitations is going to be the death of me.
Seriously.
Why?
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 Answer us. Why?
Seriously. Can anyone present me with a reasonable argument for why? Why? There's a statute of limitations on crimes like attempted murder or rape. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd love it if there was even a snowflake's fart of an explanation. Richard Dan, who goes by Dirk.
The way you said that, oh my God. Dirk.
I hate him. At least he goes by Dirk in the book.
Okay.
He was 17 years old at the time of the attack. Terry would learn that the entire town had basically always quietly whispered, gossiped, and suspected Dirk in the crime. The route he frequently took when leaving his girlfriend's house at the time took him right by Cline Falls.
Okay.
Some accounts make it seem likely that he would have crossed this very path around that specific time of night that the attack occurred.
Okay.
And on that specific date.
That's very specific.
Mm-hmm. Adding to mounting suspicions, he was arrested the day after the attack for attempting to murder his girlfriend by drowning.
What?
And in front of numerous witnesses.
Holy shit.
Including several young children who literally were scrambling over a fence to try to run to protect her, and he threatened to kill them.
What the fuck? This bro.
These are probably totally unrelated crimes.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, honestly, what are the odds that like he would just commit multiple violent crimes against innocent young women?
Apparently super slim.
Yeah. I don't buy it.
Jesus.
Tire tracks found at the scene of the Cline State attack even appeared to match his truck.
Weird.
However, given the thin investigation and documentation, there's actually no record of this having been reported to police.
What?
Yeah, someone actually took a look at what tire tracks were out there, and they knew his truck well enough that they were able to say, I think that really could be Dirk's truck. But it's not documented in any of the police records.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know why. I have some ideas.
Did he have some cop friends?
Well, he did happen to be adopted by a very wealthy, well-to-do, well-respected couple that lived in the area.
Okay.
So it would be pretty unusual for anyone to have a negative thing to say about that family.
Okay.
You certainly wouldn't go after them half-cocked. You would line it all out. You'd have your ducks in a row.
You want your full cock.
Full cock.
Wow.
In any case, because the wrong man appeared to have been charged, they were out of luck in bringing the right one to justice, if he was indeed their man. Because at the time of the attack, the statute of limitations for attempted murder was just 3 years in the state of Oregon.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Didn't even let you finish, but 3 fucking years?
I love that your response was actually like, shut the fuck up. I don't care about the rest of the sentence.
3 years?
That is the appropriate response.
It's
3 years.
attempted
3 years. So you're a
murder.
shitty killer. You're a shitty killer. And your reward is you'll get away with it. Because
keep trying.
3 years. Yeah. Just try harder.
Oh,
If at first you don't succeed, try again.
that is crazy to me.
3 years.
Wow. Just wow. Okay.
And we're not even talking about a situation where, and I don't want to like measure types of crimes and violence, like in terms of one is worse than the other. But can you imagine, okay, it's bad enough to be murdered regardless of the method, right? Or to be attacked. But when somebody does this in such a brutally physical and like personal way, does that just not add insult to injury? Because I can tell you, Terry's life has never been the same since.
No. That's, yeah. I'm like, no. Yeah. No. Yeah.
You sound like you're from Minnesota. Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Terry's journey would be a long one, recovering emotionally and physically from the attack as she transitioned from an earlier feeling of invincibility and describing her story with a level of detachment that I have to imagine was probably pretty shocking to those hearing the details, just so casually discussed, to much later realizing there was a slow and steady impact of her trauma creeping in. Stress hormones made her susceptible to jump scares, even in the smallest of instances, and she would struggle to keep nightmares at bay. So the meticulous cowboy who intentionally drove over their tent and then attacked them with a hatchet may not be a story lost to time just yet, but it will remain one of justice or even just answers unrealized. Because believe it or not, even in a violent crime like this, if you're past the point of the statute of limitations, there's not a lot of motivation on the part of law enforcement to keep investigating. And on the one hand, I suppose that makes sense.
What can they do?
But Terry made several trips up from where she was living in California at the time to obtain copies of records, to do interviews with people that lived in the area at the time.
Wow.
She met the people that rescued her that night, their friends and family. She met people that knew the original man that was accused. And he has a very strange name, but I'm not going to put it out there just because he's a horrible person. The other things that he did that landed him in jail, he deserved to be there every little bit. But to associate him any further with this case, even in an unofficial capacity, is not a service to anyone. But she interviewed people that knew him personally, family members.
Wow.
Family members that he hurt.
Holy shit.
Terry did arguably quite a bit more research and investigating on this case after the fact than the police did at the time of the crime and shortly after. There definitely were people coming forward to point the finger at Dirk. A lot of people were afraid of him. And it kind of makes sense, because if he's not afraid to attempt to kill his girlfriend in front of witnesses, threaten other small children who would dare to try to protect her, and then, as you might imagine, the cycle of, so trite, stereotypical, the drug and alcohol abuse, and the pattern of continuing violence against his female partners. Is anyone surprised?
No. So
of course you'd be afraid of him.
Did he go to jail for the attempted murder of his girlfriend?
My understanding from the reading in the book is, not really.
Wow.
I mean, nothing that would satisfy somebody reading this from an outside perspective. It's so gross.
Well, clearly, if he went on to do more.
And I didn't really want to focus in on him and dig into those details either, because, again, this is another person that, there's no confirmation or anything, but he seems like our most likely. And everybody there in the community that remembers the attack, and they remember the attack if they lived there in 1977.
Yeah. How could you not?
Yeah. They all feel and told Terry that everyone knew it was him.
Wow.
I mean, that might be the best you get. So, as I've said, this is a place that I have visited, the park where the 2 girls were attacked. I've seen what I believe is most likely the road that she saw headlights approaching from. I've even seen a house up in the distance that might have been the girlfriend's house that Dirk would have been driving from.
Oh.
I don't know how many of them I've got great angles on. So I'll go through my photos and find some things to kind of give you guys some context of the, lay of the land. But Dirk is the only suspect that we can really discuss. And there's not much to it, He's never going to be convicted. No one will be. So at least outside of a possible forthcoming Patreon book discussion, covering some additional details of the case and Terry's investigation, this is all she wrote. And if you've read the book or would like to, we want to hear your hot take on the suspects, because there are quite a few people that Terry looked at in depth through the course of the book. And it's so interesting because, you do follow kind of her line of thinking. And I tended to agree with her assessment of most of the individuals that she looked at. I thought that was really interesting, though. This is the victim decades later that's trying to figure out who did this to her.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah. So this case has been in the works to varying degrees for the better part of a year. But honestly, I'm glad it was pushed out this far so that we could continue on with the spooky season vibes. Because spooky season never dies.
Never.
And also, what's spookier than a technically unsolved case? Well, actually, there is one thing. Visiting the very place that it all took place.
Yeah.
It's got some weird vibes for a park.
I bet.
So we'll share those this week on the socials. And if you're listening to this episode, you may have already seen some of those. And it's whatever I could rustle up from that little jaunt on our drive back up to Portland. So,
wow. Well, thanks for stopping.
I was like, I don't know. Do I want to?
Probably.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Ugh.
So
I have a question.
Get it.
Did Mr. Dirkety Dirk,
Derp,
was he dressed like a cowboy like normally?
wasn't really like a cowboy getup, but when Terry says cowboy, you also have to consider she's an East Coast girl attending Yale.
Okay.
So when I say like what I picture is more in line with a small town guy who's getting ready to go out line dancing on date night, that's more accurate. He was wearing, cowboy boots and jeans, but nothing about it was probably that unusual for.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I know, because I remember when she first said that meticulous cowboy, and she's talking about what a good-looking cowboy. I was like, what do you mean cowboy? Like, you can't see his face, but you're like seeing the boots.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Oh boy.
I have the ookies. I have the yucks.
Yeah. The Dirkyicks.
The Dirkyicks. Well, Tarot?
We said those both at the same time. Oh my God. Here we go.
All right.
Caitlin attempted shuffling.
Yeah.
And then she handed the cards to me, and I have not been doing great. So we will see what happens here. My hands are freezing.
Oh, I'm sorry. We ever bundled up in a blanket?
I'm so cold.
It's so cold.
What do you think? Do you think one more shuffle? Or you think we're good?
I think we're probably good.
Okay, I was thinking we were
I
good
got a couple of quality ones in there.
I don't know why I was trying to shuffle again.
Well, and I cut it before I gave it to you to shuffle.
Okay.
Too.
And then I cut it like a bazillion more times.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay. Let's see.
Ooh, she's fanning them out.
I think.
She's not cheating, we swear.
Okay. Page of Cups in the reverse.
In reverse. Okay. Let me see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do your Vanna White.
Page of Cups in reverse. I'll show you this way so you could see Patreon creepy people. Oh, she's the one holding the cup with a fish. Klaus.
Exactamundo.
Huh. Okay.
All right. So, Page of Cups, our keywords are shut the fuck up.
Are they shut the fuck up?
No. Just to clarify, keywords are naivety, openness, sensitivity, immaturity, lack of boundaries, which allegedly would describe the potential perpetrator in many respects. But also this is about two young college girls.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
That totally reminded me of them.
Yikes. Okay. And oh my God. Okay. I read ahead. Why do I do
Stop
this?
it.
Okay.
It's just a bunch of, oh my God,
Oh
you
my
guys,
God.
but I'm not going to tell you.
I'm about to go. In some tarot decks, the page appears as a child, an apprentice, a student, or a young servant.
Wow.
Consequently, page cards represent innocence or the initial stages of a situation.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Oh, my whole body is tingling. Oh, I have chills. Sometimes the Page of Cups is shown contemplating a fish, a symbol of the water element, which this is right next to a creek.
Oh.
Like a little.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. When the Page of Cups shows up, it suggests intuition and innate artistic creative abilities, but you haven't developed these yet. Well, if you wrote a book about this crazy shit that happened to you.
Yeah, but I was also thinking they did have the intuition, like they thought it felt wrong, like they were being watched.
So true.
But maybe they just hadn't developed.
Anyway, you know?
Yeah, because they hadn't developed like listening to their intuition yet, because they were young and innocent.
Oh my God. It also indicates emotional immaturity. If this card represents an actual person, he or she is probably young, inexperienced in love, and perhaps overly trusting, naive, or idealistic in the extreme.
Oh,
that's literally, oh my God.
That's so sad. Her eyes just got bigger.
The Page of Cups reversed often indicates pain resulting from an unhappy relationship or family situation, of which Dirk had plenty of both. As a result, you feel insecure, afraid to trust, unwilling to seek love because you want to avoid more suffering.
Oh,
there is something in this card for everyone involved. This card can show fear of rejection if you express your creative abilities or reveal your intuitive nature. Sometimes it means you're withdrawing into a fantasy world. The reversed page can also represent a sensitive young person who feels unaccepted or unloved or who can't trust anyone.
Aww.
In a reading about money, the reversed page advises against relying on others for financial advice. Like maybe whoever told you to only
Right.
only plan for $50 for food.
Or stop at this place where you can't camp at night.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh. Or it may indicate a venture you're considering isn't well-founded.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes this card means you're underpaid or being taken advantage of and need to stand up for yourself. If the reading is about your job, this card may indicate disappointments, broken promises, or a situation that didn't turn out the way you'd hoped. It can also show misplaced trust. Maybe you've been duped or betrayed in a work-related area, or you may not be using your talents wisely. My gosh, there's so many little minute details of the case that I'm like, oh, remember.
Oh.
In a reading about love, the page reversed warns you to take a good, hard look at a relationship. This card may show you repeating a pattern of heartbreak and betrayal rooted in childhood. Perhaps you've opened your heart to the wrong person or fantasized that a romantic fling is something more serious. Wow.
Was there any extras?
No, we don't have any extra excerpts in this one. So that's like unusually brief for us, but I felt like I was definitely seeing some connections there.
All the stuff about the relationships too. Like it's not exact, but she had this relationship with her friend, you know, and then she all of a sudden didn't have it anymore.
I know. That
I'm
is
assuming,
just...
Did they have any sort of relationship after, or?
You know, they really didn't.
That would be really hard.
I just can't imagine how you repair a friendship that's broken by just such disparate circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, she can't not think about what happened to them. Shayna doesn't remember and doesn't want to. I mean, how do you meet in the middle on that?
You probably can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of a good way to.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah, that was a good card. Good job, universe, once again.
Wowzers.
Man.
That's freaky.
If you guys found any connections, let us know.
Yeah. Well, and I really am curious for anybody else who maybe has read the book prior to, you know, us kind of sharing this case. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Was it Dirk?
Probably.
I think so.
I mean, I don't know the other options, but
yeah,
I just don't like his name.
Yeah. I mean, the other names are not great either, but I'm not gonna, I'm holding them back because I think they may work their way back around.
Oh.
We'll see.
Okay.
So,
well,
I think that's it for today.
Let's go take a nap.
Like 12 naps.
In a heated blanket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Woo!
Have a creepy ass day. See you next Tuesday. Unless your name is Dirk.
Never want to see a Dirk.
Bye, Dirkity Dirk.
So for all of you that are listening, if you have any true crime or paranormal stories that you want us to share, maybe with the whole Pacific Northwest.
Yes, we would love to read them on the pod.
Yes, we will read them out loud.
Not just in our heads.
Yes. They don't have to be from the Pacific Northwest if you would like to share. Email us at pnwhauntsandhomicides@gmail.com. It's all spelled out, no special characters. Super duper easy peasy.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Same thing as the email at pnwhauntsandhomicides, all spelled out, no special characters. Please also rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening to, and check out our stories on social media because our meme game is hot.
Agreed.
And if you agree, like Caitlin, you can also find us on Patreon and support the show.
Bitchin'.
So Caitlin is joining the naked bike ride.
Oh, God.
Portland.
No, I don't think so. Listen, I feel like there's a time in your life where if you so choose, but all of the bits aren't where I'd like them to be. So that time has come and gone for me.
I mean, have you seen anybody who does the naked bike ride? They're not exactly all in their prime. Just saying.
Oh, goodness. You're like, okay, fine. Sorry, I'll shut up about the bike ride. I'm like, no, keep going. I love it.
We will do a special broadcast from the naked bike ride.
Coming to you live. This is P&W Haunts and Homicides.
Also, humps.
Humps.
Humps. Homicides and boobies.
Oh my God. So many good outtakes. All right.
We're done.
Should we record the actual? I don't know. Like, whatevs.
Did you finish your sentence?
I did.
Okay, good.